The wait is over. The off-season chatter, the trade rumors, the preseason speculations, it all finally gives way to the real thing. The NBA is back, and there's a buzz in the air you can practically feel. The energy shifts, the pulse quickens, and the conversation returns to where it belongs, on the court. Tomorrow, basketball is officially back in our lives. And if you're anything like me, it's been way too long. Opening night is upon us, and the slate is already giving us drama. Rockets versus Thunder is one of the matchups, and of course, we get the much-anticipated KD return to OKC, where he'll witness the ring ceremony for the new-look Thunder. It's poetic in a way. A player who defined an era for that franchise, now standing on the sidelines watching a younger, hungrier generation receive the kind of validation he couldn't quite bring them. Then we roll straight into what seems like a tradition at this point: Lakers versus Warriors. It's like Adam Silver has that game penciled in every year just to kick things off with fireworks. Whether you're a fan of either team or not, there's always something compelling about LeBron and Steph sharing the stage. That's just good television. But you know what really has me fired up? The Boston Celtics are back just a day later, squaring off against the Sixers. Right out of the gate, we're talking rivalries, elite big men, and playoff tension baked into Game 1. This is how you launch a season. We already know Paul George won't suit up, but Joel Embiid, he looks ready. He played in the final preseason tune-up and looked like a man on a mission. 14 points, 7 boards, 6 assists in limited minutes. That's not just efficient, it's ominous. After the game, he had this chip on his shoulder vibe, talking about how people don't even rank him in the top 100 anymore. I mean, come on. No one's out here saying Joel Embiid isn't good at basketball. What we're saying is availability matters. If you show up and dominate, you're in the top 10. If you're constantly sidelined, people start asking questions. It's not hate, it's math. Still, this is the Embiid that's dangerous. When he feels disrespected, when he's motivated, when he's healthy, he can wreck your whole night. And Boston will have to deal with him immediately. Not ideal, considering the Celtics' biggest question mark heading into the season is frontcourt depth. Can a rotation big slow him down? Can they stay out of foul trouble? Because if you find yourself throwing Luka Garza out there for 35 minutes to guard Joel Embiid, well, we've seen how that movie ends. Now, as we gear up for tip-off, let's talk expectations. This first stretch of games is no joke. These first 10, maybe even the first 20, could define the trajectory of the entire Celtics season. I'm talking roster decisions, trade deadline positioning, maybe even long-term plans involving Jason Tatum's future. That's how pivotal this early stretch could be. People want to pretend the first month doesn't matter, but in a conference as volatile as the East, where the margin for error is razor thin, everything counts. Every possession, every night, especially now, when this team doesn't have the luxury of depth to cover up for lapses. The Celtics can't afford a bad week. Not this year. Opening night against Philly is already getting Vegas attention. The line is Boston favored by 2.5, which tells me one thing. Jaylen Brown is probably good to go. That hamstring scare from preseason had people nervous, but if Vegas thinks he's playing, that's usually a good sign. I don't need a press release. I trust the sports books more than any team's injury report. So if JB's in, we get a much better sense of what this group will look like. Projected starters? It's probably Peyton Pritchard at the 1, Derek White at the 2, Jalen at the 3, Bobby Bush, a.k.a. Chris Bush, at the 4, and then Neemias Quetta holding things down at the 5. Yeah, you heard that right. Quetta is going to be thrown right into the fire, and he'll have to battle Embiid from the jump. Not exactly easing into the season. Behind them, we'll see Simons and Howard coming off the bench, maybe a mix of Xavier Tillman or Luka Garza for backup big minutes, and depending on health, maybe Walsh or Minot get some run. Baylor Shireman might be the odd man out for now at least. For the Sixers, the story is all about what they don't have. No Paul George, no McCain. They're short on wings, and it's going to show. Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe are expected to start in the backcourt. Kelly Oubre slots in at the 3, and then Bona and Embiid form a pretty imposing frontcourt duo. But again, if you're depending on guys like Grimes, Jabari Walker, or even Andre Drummond to soak up big minutes off the bench, there's vulnerability there. Boston needs to attack that. Still, let's not get too cocky. Embiid is a walking mismatch, and if Quetta gets into foul trouble early, this game could go sideways fast. I don't care how good the perimeter shooting is. If Embiid gets comfortable in the paint and there's no one to slow him down, it's over. The Celtics have to come out locked in, gang rebounding, switching intelligently, and honestly, just weathering the storm until rotations stabilize. That first quarter might be ugly, but if they can keep it close and let the shooters start cooking, they've got a shot. I'm calling it right now. Boston gets the W. They open the season 1-0, and we all breathe a little easier. But it's not going to come easy. This one's going to be a battle. And then, just like that, the schedule doesn't let up. 2 nights later, it's Knicks time. And I'm going to be real with you. The Knicks are going to be favored. Probably by 7 or 8. That's not hate, that's just math. New York at the Garden is a tough out. And with the Celtics still finding their rhythm, I can see them dropping this one. So 1-1. Then it's off to Detroit and New Orleans for a quick road trip. Pistons on Sunday, Pelicans on Monday. That back-to-back could go either way, but realistically, let's call a split. That puts Boston at 2-2 through 4 games. And honestly, I'll take that. If they somehow start 3-1, I'm throwing a parade. Duck boats, confetti, the whole thing. Because it doesn't get easier from there. Cleveland's on the horizon. Philly again for a tournament game. Houston, who's no joke this year. Utah, Washington, and then the Magic. 10 games in, 5-5 would be solid. 6-4? That's a win in my book. But let's go back to the big picture. This Celtics team is built differently. Not better necessarily, but differently. The margin for error is gone. They don't have the same fallback options as before. There's no Smart, no Brogdon, no deep bench filled with seasoned vets. That means they can't afford injuries. Jaylen Brown can't miss 10 days. Derek White can't sit 2 weeks. Everyone's got to be dialed in, healthy, and ready to contribute. Because if they're not, these games against bottom-tier teams like Charlotte or Washington won't be easy wins. They'll be dogfights. And look, one of the things that's going to define this early stretch isn't just the wins and losses. It's how this group plays together. This is a Celtics team that's going to look wildly different depending on the night. We're going to see rotation shifts, lineup experimentation, and moments of total chaos. That's part of the plan. Joe Mazzulla is going to tinker. He has to. And for a team that lost a lot of steady hands in the offseason, finding the right mix is going to take time. You're going to see nights where the offense is beautiful, high pace, smart reads, guys cutting with purpose, and then there will be nights where the whole thing looks like it's stitched together with duct tape. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a ride. But one thing that gives me a little optimism, the identity. There's an edge to this team. It's young. It's hungry. Guys like Peyton Pritchard, who's finally getting the keys to the offense, are stepping into bigger roles with something to prove. He's been overlooked for so long that now, every possession feels personal. Derek White is already known as one of the smartest defenders in the league, and now he's going to have to lead not just with his play, but with his voice. Jaylen Brown, if healthy, becomes the emotional engine. He's got to shake off that preseason injury and set the tone physically. He's got to show that he can be a top-tier two-way guy every night, not just when the matchup favors him. And then there's the wild cards. Guys like Nemias Quetta, guys like Simons, Minot Walsh. These aren't just names to fill out the bench. They're the pressure points that'll decide whether this team is fighting for a top 6 seed or trying to claw the play-in. Nemias is already being thrown into the fire, and how he handles those first few matchups, especially against physical bigs like Embiid, could decide how long he stays in the rotation. Minot has looked like a dog in preseason, going after every loose ball, showing flashes of real toughness. You need that from the margins. And Hugo? The fan base is already falling in love with him, and rightly so. He's raw, he's exciting, and he brings energy. But is he ready for real minutes against grown men night after night? That's what we'll find out. The center position remains the glaring weak spot, and it's not about effort. It's about whether this group can physically hang in a league where the bigs are getting stronger, faster, more versatile. They didn't draft a guy like Danny Wolf. They didn't go after established frontcourt help. That means someone like Quetta has to make the leap. Or Garza has to turn into something more than just an emergency backup. That's risky. That's a gamble. And if it doesn't pay off, that's where the pressure on the front office starts to build. Because don't forget, this isn't a let's see what happens year. There are real expectations here. Tatum's future, the development of your young guys, your position in the Eastern Conference. All of it depends on whether this experiment works. The Celtics aren't supposed to be rebuilding. They're supposed to be contending. And you can't do that if you're getting killed on the glass every night, or if Embiid is putting up 45 points on you because your backup bigs are fouling out in the second quarter. That's where the urgency comes in. Now let's go back to something that's been floating around for a while, the media game. I know, we've talked about it. But it's become this weird lightning rod for Celtics discourse. The whole coaching staff running circles around the media in a pickup game shouldn't be a headline. It shouldn't be a controversy. And yet, somehow, it's turned into this discussion about bullying. I mean, come on. Everyone who participated in that game seemed to come out of it smiling. They got their jokes off, made some content, shared a few laughs. Missoula included. It was a fun, lighthearted way to bridge the gap between the team and the media. That's all. But instead, we've got people writing serious think pieces about how this was some sort of power imbalance play. That's exhausting. Just say you don't like Missoula. Don't twist a fun moment into a weird culture war take. The truth is, that game actually helped humanize both sides. The coaches showed some personality. The media got some shine. People had fun. And now, other teams are doing the same thing. Denver's coaching staff is getting involved. Toronto's talking about setting something up. It's becoming a thing, a preseason tradition that helps build community. And you've got someone out here calling it bullying? Please. You want to critique Missoula's rotations? Do that. You want to question his X's and O's? Go ahead. But don't act like a 40-minute scrimmage with some assistant coaches is some sort of PR nightmare. That's just reaching. Anyway, back to what really matters, basketball. And not just basketball, but our basketball. Boston basketball. The Celtics are entering this season with a completely new rhythm. It's going to take time for it all to click. They're going to play fast. They're going to shoot a ton. They're going to live and die by the three more than ever. And that's going to lead to some nights where they drop one to a team like the Hornets or the Wizards. Nights where the shots aren't falling and the defense is scrambling and suddenly you're down double digits to a team you should be beating by 20. That's going to happen. But then there are going to be nights where they're unconscious, where Pritchard can't miss, where Derek White turns into a monster on both ends, where Jaylen Brown is flying to the rim and dunking on your whole front line. Nights where this team looks unstoppable. The trick is managing the highs and the lows. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NBA, the Boston Celtics reportedly set the league abuzz with a stunning announcement. Kawhi Leonard, the reigning star of the Los Angeles Clippers, could be heading to Boston. While the details remain murky, sources close to the situation hint that negotiations are heating up, and if this deal materializes, it could redefine the Celtics' championship aspirations for years to come. Fans and analysts alike are struggling to process the implications. Leonard, known for his ice-cold demeanor and exceptional two-way game, would instantly become the centerpiece of Boston's roster. The Celtics have long been searching for that superstar presence to complement their current core, and whispers suggest they are willing to offer a package of draft picks and young talent to make the trade happen. The idea of pairing Leonard with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown has pundits speculating that Boston could emerge as the team to beat in the Eastern Conference, and perhaps the NBA as a whole. Of course, the Celtics front office is keeping details under wraps, fueling further speculation. Twitter and fan forums exploded the moment the initial reports surfaced, with debates ranging from salary cap logistics to how Leonard would fit into Boston's system. Skeptics point out that Leonard has had a history of injury concerns, and integrating a midseason, or even in the offseason, would require careful management. Yet, the allure of adding a two-time Finals MVP seems to outweigh the risks, at least in the eyes of many Celtic supporters. Meanwhile, the Clippers are reportedly bracing for potential fallout. Losing Leonard would be seismic, not just on the court, but in terms of franchise identity. Clippers fans are expressing disbelief, with some refusing to accept that their star might wear green and white. The NBA landscape could shift overnight, with rivals scrambling to adjust their strategies and rosters. Whether this rumor will become reality remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The Celtics' Kawhi Leonard saga has ignited a firestorm of speculation, excitement, and tension. Boston may be on the verge of a blockbuster acquisition that could reshape the league, leaving fans everywhere holding their breath for the next move. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.